This right here is my favorite dongle ever made, and I would like to review it today. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Isaac Leonard, and I'm a cinematographer and filmmaker. Here at The Gear Shelf, we talk about why gear matters, and I will show you how to use gear to improve your creative work. One of the things that's still annoying about this day and age is we still need to carry dongles. While the new MacBooks have most of the ports I need, there are still some ports that I often do use, and so owning a dongle like this in your bag becomes essential when I'm previewing stuff with clients and with other people to be able to make sure I have an optimal on-set experience as well as post-production. I love this dongle because it feels really nice and has an excellent build quality, and there is craftsmanship in the design. On the front here, we have 4 main ports. We have an HDMI 2.0, which will allow for 4K 60 Hz, as well as 3 USB 3.1 ports. It is unfortunate that this is not USB 3.2, so you don't get those speeds. However, I've been getting 250 megabits per second on my, spinning drives and about 500 on my SSDs if I need to use this, and it's no problem. On the back here, you have the Ethernet as well as the USB-C PD port. This is awesome because you can plug in Ethernet to get excellent fast internet speeds as well as file transfers, and you can also have that USB-C power delivery. What's cool is if you were to plug in a USB-C power brick, then you can charge your computer as well as use all these ports at the same time, but it's not required to plug in other accessories. And then on the side here, you have your SD card slot and your micro SD card slot. This is really important because in a lot of our creative work, we need to plug in a lot of different media, and while I do carry a micro to full-size SD card slot in my backpack as well, sometimes you don't have that on you, and so having a micro is just clutch. There have been many times this has saved my bacon, and this is truly an amazing investment. It also matches my MacBook. So right here, we have my MacBook Pro M2 Pro, as well as the Satechi dongle. And if you look right there, identical aluminum, perfectly matches. I just really like having stuff that matches, and it's just so cool to have a dongle that feels very high-end and well built that's gonna last a long time. I'm such a proponent of this dongle. I actually own 2 of them. I have one in my backpack and one at home. This is so nice because at home I have my Ethernet plugged in as well as my hard drives, and on the go I have one so if I need to present to clients or on set, do some file transfers. It's nice to have the old legacy ports when you need them. In reality though, I probably use this only about once a week, so enough to justify it, but really not enough that I need those ports on my actual computer. But it's just such a nice thing to have. It looks clean, it's elegant, it's well built, and this will last a while. One of the other issues I've had is I've went with other cheaper dongle brands is the ports either die out or they're not to spec. So I've gone through 3 different dongles from other companies that had the slower HDMI 1.1 port, which I believe only allowed for 4K at 30 Hertz, which was a pain. And also, this is only a gigabit Ethernet, so obviously if you want to get 2.5 gig or 10 gig, you're gonna need to get another adapter, which is unfortunate. But most of the speeds I'm using at home are just a gigabit speed. Don't have an NAS yet, so I don't really need faster. But then we also have our SD card slot and our micro, which is nice too, because if you're transferring a lot of data, I don't know if this is not kosher, but I've sometimes had one SD card slot in my MacBook and one SD card slot in here, and I've transferred 2 SD cards to the same SSD really fast, which has been super clutch. But it's also good to be redundant. So I think in a lot of high intense scenarios when there's a lot on the line, it's so nice to have redundancy because you could have your SD card slot on your MacBook go out and you're like, oh shoot, what do I do? I have, you think in your bag, okay, I have a USB-C cable, we can try that to the camera. But in a pinch, this is so much easier. You just plug in a dongle, you have it here, or if you have a MacBook Air or a computer that doesn't have those ports, this is an essential. But it's just nice to have all the ports you need and some in such a nice looking design, form factor, build that I think everyone will agree looks awesome. If you're interested in more tech reviews, I'm going to be pumping out a video a week. I love you guys so much. Thank you for all the support, and I will see you next week. Peace.